Plot. More than 10 years after the events of the first movie, Jake Sully has been leading a peaceful life as the chief of the Menace clan and raising a family with his lover Ney'tiri. This family consists of his sons Ney'tiri and Loke, his daughter Ney'tiri, his adopted daughter Kiri born from Grace, Augustine's unconscious avatar, and a human boy named Miles Spider Sapporo. The fire in the forest is seen by Jake and Ney'tiri. They lead happy lives until they discover a brand new star in the night sky one day. They discover it heralds the coming of a fleet of Arda intergalactic ships, much to their consternation. In the wake of the destruction of Hell's Gate, due to the approaching environmental catastrophe on Earth, humans have returned to Pandora to further occupy the planet. The Arda constructs Bridgehead City, a new major operations base that is significantly larger than Hell's Gate during the course of the following year using fabrication plants and construction robots. Miles Quaritch, along with 11 of his former troops, has been cloned into a Navi body as a recombinant or recom, and is among the new arrivals to Pandora. New ships are constantly arriving to deliver more troops and equipment. Jake is the leader of an ongoing tactical guerrilla campaign aimed at disrupting Arda supply routes in order to stop the Arda from exploiting Pandora once more. Jake's sons are tasked with serving as spotters for one of these missions, which involves a raid on a Maglev train. Loke disobeys Jake's orders and seeks to help in the combat because he is eager to establish himself. However, Loke is overpowered and Ney'tiri is hurt while attempting to defend him as more Arda personnel arrive on Scorpion gunships. Jake saves and corrects both of his sons, admonishing them not to put their own lives in jeopardy by acting recklessly for his sake. That evening, as Jake was attending to his own wounds, Ney'tiri gently reminded him not to be too strict with his sons. Jake responded by expressing his concern for their safety and his need to be strict with them. Adramor, who is upset over the attack on the Arda supply lines, sends Quaritch's recon team on a search expedition to find Jake. Spider notices that Loke, Tuck and Kiri are close to the location where their father fought his father during a playful foray into the forest with their father Jake. Despite knowing that this is against Jake's rules, Loke chooses to explore the area. They are unaware that Quaritch and his first recon team are inspecting the same location. Quaritch somberly found his decaying body punctured by Ney'tiri's characteristic arrows and crushing his own skull. A perceptive Loke notices the recons and promptly radios his father to let him know where they are. But when there is a fight, the recons quickly seize Jake's kids. As soon as they learn Spider's name, Quaritch recognizes the children as being Jake, since Loke and Kiri have human features that are recessive, such 5 fingers. Jake begs Ney'tiri to hold back as the trio hastily arrive at Site 26 with Ney'tiri and Ney'tiri. The parents then use animal noises to let the kidnapped kids know that they are about to be rescued. Jake quietly kills Recon Warren while Ney'tiri keeps watch. Ney'tiri is compelled to shoot Recon Walker and Recon fight with arrows when she sees them posing a threat to Kiri. This causes Quaritch to become aware of her presence and facilitates the kids' escape. Jake ambushes and kills Recon Lopez when the other Recons try to flank Ney'tiri. Meanwhile, Ney'tiri defies Jake and kills Recon Zhang to protect his father. With Ney'tiri and his other kids, Jake and Ney'tiri reunite, but Spider slips and lands on the forest floor, where Quaritch kidnaps him. Recommendations then Arda scientists try in vain to torture Spider aboard the command ship in order to get her to divulge information about Jake. Quaritch switches tactics and acknowledges Spider as the son of his donor, pleading with him to help him comprehend the Navi and their culture in return for a reprieve from more torture. Despite being resistant and ignorant of Quaritch's assassination objective, Spider does grudgingly agree to help Quaritch. Spider's prodding enables Quaritch and the rest of his recon crew to effectively bond with different horses. Jake persuades a reluctant Ney'tiri and his children to flee to the eastern seaboard archipelago and the village of Awayatlu, a coral reef island and home to the Menace clan, whose lifestyle is adapted to an aquatic habitat, knowing the threat Spider's knowledge poses to their safety as well as to prevent further persecution of the Menace clan. Carson takes over as chief after Jake hands over the reins to him, and the family boards an Ney'tiri to travel to Menace. While Loke makes friends with Syria, the daughter of Tanawari and Romo, and sister of Onan, Kiri is enthralled by the underwater life of Awayatlu and forms a spiritual relationship with the sea and its species. Jake eventually manages to form a bond with a Zurak, a mount that resembles a large flying fish that can dive underwater or flip just above the surface. Jake and Ney'tiri themselves attempt to adapt and learn the skills of the menace. Luke fights with Onung and Roxo while adjusting to their new surroundings after they make crude remarks about his and Kiri's mixed human ancestry. Jake corrects his son's behavior. Luke returns to apologize to Onung and his pals on Jake's persuasion. They lure him to the Three Brothers Island chain, the hunting grounds of a fearsome sea predator known as an akula, but then abandon him there as payback. Attacked by an akula, Luke is on the verge of drowning when a tulkun, a peaceful and intelligent species of cetacean that the menace regard as their spiritual family, intervenes to save him. The tulkun is missing his fin on the other side when a thankful Luke removes a steel tag produced by humans from one of his fins. He spends time with the tulkun and discovers that he can talk to it. Eventually, they develop a friendship. The group of kids study and explore Wyattlu's watery coasts and its lovely nature together. When Luke informs Syria and the others about the tulkun who saved him, they warn him that he is Payakan, a tulkun who was exiled for murder. But Luke is unable to believe this. Quaritch takes a Sea Dragon whaling carrier ship from RDA Setops Captain Mick Scoresby once more, bringing Spider with him. The Sea Dragon is hunting tulkuns to collect Onrita brain enzyme needed to make anti-aging treatments and is capable of deposing a small fleet of gunboats, subs and VTOLs. Using Spider as a translator, Quaritch starts to forcefully interrogate the native tribes about Jake's whereabouts. If that fails, he instructs the whaling crew to indiscriminately hunt and murder tulkuns in an effort to draw Jake out. In order to connect with Payakan via his cue, Luke returns to the Three Brothers and searches for the cause of Payakan's exclusion. He discovers that the tulkun who had violated the pacifist principles of his species by attacking the Arda whalers who had killed his mother, had been expelled by his pod. After hearing this information, Luke is filled with deep sympathy and emptiness for Payakan, since the disobedient Luke too feels like an outsider in his family, and that he exists in Ney'tirim's shadow. Payakan has already been tagged again when the group discovers him at the Three Brothers, being pursued by the Sea Dragon and Scoresby's squadron of jet boats. The children succeed in releasing Payakan from the tracking device when Luke alerts his father via radio, but Quaritch spots them and Scoresby's jet boats follow in pursuit. As Jake, Ney'tiri and the menace family arrive at the Three Brothers on their Zuraks to battle the Arda fleet, the children are restrained to the deck railing. Prior to the conflict, Quaritch contacts Jake through radio and threatens to kill his children if he refuses to submit. Ronal chastises Jake for bringing the battle to the menace. Since Quaritch and he were always the only two fighting to protect Pandora from additional bloodshed, Jake decided to give up. Using spears and arrows, Jake and the menace clan attack the Arda fleet at this precise time, removing the crews of the 5 Picador jet boats off the backs of Zuraks. 2 of the boats are successfully sunk by Jake, with one exploding, and the other severely running aground. Ney'tiri swoops down on the back of her Ikrin, shooting down sea wisps, and killing Recom Jaw while doing so. One of the sea wisps crashes onto the top deck of the Sea Dragon. Scoresby attempts to capture Payakan with a harpoon cable as Jake's Zurak successfully knocks Quaritch off his Banshee into the water. However, the highly intelligent tulkun successfully manipulates the cable and wraps around the matador, dragging its belly over nearby rocks and pinning Scoresby to his gunner's platform by his arm. As a result of Payakan's tremendous pressure on the gunboat, the cable eventually tears the gunner's platform off the boat, severing Scoresby's arm, much like the whalers had done to Payakan's fin, and sending him screaming into the water. Dr. Garvin falls to the deck. Soon later, Luke and Ney'tirim locate Spider, and take his guards hostage during the rescue. Luke is compelled to shoot and kill an Arda soldier, which leaves him disturbed. Ney'tirim steals the gun from Luke and rushes him and Spider into the water. But Wainfleet shoots Ney'tirim fatally as he attempts to cover their escape. On neighboring rocks, Jake and Ney'tiri make an attempt to preserve Ney'tirim's life, but as the sky grows ominous and Pandora enters its daily eclipse, Ney'tirim passes away from his wound in their arms. After that, Ney'tirim's burial is sadly conducted by Jake and his family in accordance with menace rituals, and his body is laid to rest in the cove of the ancestors, where it is consumed by the spirit tree. Jake continues by telling Tonawari and Rona that he has decided to leave the reef and relocate far away. Tonawari, however, formally acknowledges him as a member of the Mekena clan and cordially invites his family to remain. Jake makes the humble promise that he and his family will protect their new home, Awaya Blue.